I'd like to highlight how this piece, I've done a dry fit here, and you can see even on the two bolts there's a bit of play where you have to think about how you're gonna go down without too much wiggle. And also I'd like to point out that there's a recess there. It drops into a recess, and that recess only has play where there could have been a wider flange. Whoops, how can I get that? Yeah, you can see where that's up and down. That's the only spot where that flange could have been wider. And I'm highlighting that for a reason. So I'll pull that back out. That's the best cleanup I could do. And that's partly with my lightest poly pad, and I've been using that ceramic glass induction cooktop cleaner. And the top of my stud, I wanted to take these out because I'm a perfectionist and I just wanted these studs out so I could do an easier, proper job. And the top, it was an eTorx E5, and it just sheared off the top. It didn't hinder the threads, but that teaches me a lesson for not following my gut feeling. I had a gut feeling to leave them alone, but I just couldn't leave them alone, and I should have. And so moving on from that, the other thing, getting around the studs, this is quite a handy tool. I got it from an electronics store, but I could take the poly pad, cut it in a strip, and clamp down on it where it leaves a good firm poly pad at the end, and that gives you a much more comfortable hand room to manipulate the poly pad, like around those two studs. You got the one there and the one back there. Now on this, that is 7.5. That I think is 8. This surface from there to there is 11. And that's why I showed you at the beginning. If this flange would have been able to flare out, if Toyota had made it like when it gets to here where it goes to a lesser amount, if Toyota had made it where the flange could come out another 5 mil even, all the way around, to be the same as this 11 mil, they wouldn't have had near as much trouble with this leaking at the back. I mean, isn't that silly to have a proper 11 mil mating surface and then it reduces to 7.5 right there? And that's the spot that seems to be where it leaks. It ends up leaking on that rear bank side. The other thing I just want to quickly point out, and this has to do with the distance from there to there, which I think it's always 44 by memory, but I saw some that were 36, and this is why I would hesitate to use anything but the 44. And before I do that, in there to that machine surface at the bottom is 50 mil from where the thermostat sits. So you've got 44, but with the rubber gasket, it's going to be less, but it leaves about, so you can see right there, the amount of distance that drops in has a lot to do with the amount of liters per minute goes under and goes through the transfer hose. That distance governs so much of that, so I wouldn't play around with it. I would just make sure your thermostat is the same distance as Toyota engineered it to be. So whatever a Toyota original thermostat is, that's what it should be. I wouldn't mess around with that distance.